What's up, everybody? So today I'm going to show you how to make some Caribbean mac and cheese and some brown stew chicken. By the end of this video, if you master it, you may or may not be able to get that ring on your finger. So let's go. So I marinated this chicken overnight. I used a little bit of this browning seasoning. I used salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder. I also used some jerk seasoning and marinated in that, rubbed it all over, and then I left it in the fridge all night long. So now I'm just adding some more seasoning. I added more browning sauce. I'm adding some brown sugar and some more salt, pepper, garlic, ginger, and onion powder. And then once you put all your seasonings on there, your hands are going to get a little dirty because you do want to massage it onto your chicken. Then you can chop up a sweet onion or a yellow onion, whichever you prefer. I don't dice them up because I do want the onions to be a little bit chunky in the stew. But if you would like them to kind of just evaporate into the liquid, you can dice them up. I just like to taste it. And also this recipe normally calls for bell peppers, but I forgot that, so that's the one thing that we don't have is some bell peppers, and it would have been so good, but it doesn't need it, promise. So now I'm just gonna finish getting the chicken ready, because this is the first thing that you're gonna do. You're gonna sear your chicken for 2 minutes on each side, and then you're gonna set it to the side. But this is the star of the show, so you do want to give most of your love to the chicken. If you don't have time to let it sit out overnight, just don't make this dish tonight. Like, choose something else to make, because it's very important for it to sit overnight marinating. And I left this camera going for a while. Had to get them minutes in, y'all. Now I'm getting situated. This is where it gets aggravating. But anyway, now we're good to go. I'm going to put some, this is vegetable oil in the pan. And then I'm also going to use my Country Crock squirt butter. It's way easier to cook with, and it spreads throughout the pan a lot faster than if you were just to take a stick of butter, a spoonful of butter, and get it to spread around the pan. So this makes it that much easier, and it kind of all mixes together. So now that it's nice and hot, you're just gonna lay your legs in there. You can also use chicken thighs, but I like these the best. Drumsticks. And when I tell you, by the time I got done with this, I think it took me 4 hours total altogether to cook. Not standing time, but with this just cooking on its own, because I let the chicken cook. I originally set the timer for 1 hour and 30 minutes, but I let it cook for like 2 hours and 15 minutes, just enough to where I could pull it out of the pot. But I had to be very careful with doing that, because the chicken was literally falling off the bone, that's exactly how you want it in order to get all those flavors. So now it's been 2 minutes. So we're just going to turn them over and sear the other side. And don't worry about it not being done. Of course, it's not done in 2 minutes. This is just to get the texture of the skin on the chicken to be a little tough. And I added some more brown sugar because it adds color to the skin of the chicken. And then now it's been 2 minutes on each side. Take your chicken out and set it off to the side. We're going to throw it back in whenever we're ready. And then don't clean that pot. You need everything in there. This is going to be the start of your stew. So now I'm going to dump in the rest of the onions and the jerk seasoning and the browning seasoning from the bowl that I marinated the chicken in. Don't throw any of that away. You need all of these things. Everything is going to get used. So now we're just going to let this cook down for about 5 minutes. I use canned carrots. I normally use the real ones, but I didn't have time for that today. And they also, the can that I use has honey in it. So yeah, we're going with that. And then that is a can of stewed tomatoes. So I use 2 cans of honey carrots and 1 can of stewed tomatoes. And then if I use canned carrots, I drain half of the juice out of the can and then pour the rest of it in there. But you don't need all of it. In both cans, by the way, both of the 2 cans. So if you wanted to, you could use a full can and just dump it in there and then drain the other can and use none of the juice. It's up to you. So now that we've let that cook down for about 5 minutes, so we're going to add our chicken broth. This is a main ingredient of your stew as well. You do need this. If you don't want to use chicken broth, you can use vegetable broth, but it's not going to taste the same. So then we're going to add that, a little more browning seasoning. And then I also added a tad bit more of the brown sugar as well. And now we're just going to place those drumsticks back in the stew and let it cook for about 2 hours and 15 minutes to be exact. Anyone else? Just me. And then also I started off for the first 20 minutes on medium, and then I put it almost on low. So I put it about on 3. And then as it continues to cook, you stir it. Don't let it sit there too long, because you don't want any of your tomatoes or your carrots getting burnt to the bottom or anything. So just make sure you're constantly stirring it around about every 10-15 minutes. But this dish, also you add ketchup. Don't forget to add ketchup, and you can add about 3 squirts to it. I don't measure whenever I cook. You kind of just know what you're doing. So add 3 squirts of ketchup. This is for the redness and also a little bit of sweetness in the stew. So make sure you add the ketchup. Don't forget the ketchup. I know it looks crazy, but it's delicious. So now we're just going to, and then also if you like yours a little more spicy, sweeter, saltier, of course, add for your preference. But make sure that you let this cook for at least 2 hours and 15 minutes, and then add about a cup of water. Not too much water, because you want it thick. You want your stew a little thick. You don't want it runny. And you can't have brown stew chicken without some macaroni and cheese. So this is cream cheese that I'm melting down. And then there is butter in there too. And what I just poured in there was 2 eggs and about a half a cup of milk. And I beat that in a bowl before I put it in with the cream cheese. I did that video a little fast. But anyway, so you're going to cook that down. Add your add your milk and your eggs into your cream cheese. Stir that on up. Add salt, pepper, paprika, and a packet of Sazon seasoning. And then I think I added maybe 2 bags of mild cheddar cheese. So then you're going to cook your noodles for only 3 minutes. Only cook them for 3 minutes, because they're going to continue to cook in the oven. Then you're going to strain your noodles, put them in a pan, put your cheese sauce all over it, and then you're going to top it with Colby Jack cheese or cheddar cheese. Put it in the oven until it's crispy like that. And when I tell y'all to stick with the 2 hours and 15 minutes, it was falling off the bone. It was so good. Everybody enjoyed this. Literally, I think this is one of the best dishes that I've ever made. You know, when you keep making something that you really like, and then finally, you just perfect it. This was perfected. Hope you enjoy.